UITN Business and Finance Research Colloquium.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and hi everyone. My name is FARAH Zulaikha Binti AZLAN, and our group consists of 3 members: me, myself, NURUL IZZATI Binti MOHAMMAD ASRI, and Asfaizni Zulaikha Binti Nasir. So today, we will be presenting on the dividend payout policies of politically connected firms, evidence from GLCs in Malaysia.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Asfaizni Zulaikha Binti Nasir, and today I will be presenting about the introductions, background of study, and also the problem segment. Firstly, as we all know, Malaysia offers an appealing market setting to examine since businesses have a strong ties with the politicians and the government. Malaysia has the largest number of PCF bailouts instances among emerging economy. Following the establishment of a new economic policy (NEP) in 1970, political ties in Malaysian enterprises begin with the primary goals of achieving economic equality among Malaysian ethnic group. However, government-linked company GLCs defined as businesses with a primary commercial goal in which the Malaysian government had a controlling stake, not just a percentage ownership stake, but also influence over the appointment of a director and senior management officer and other. So for the analysis is from a panel data of 29 non-financial GLC listed under Bursa Malaysia from the year 2016 to 2020. So the dividend payout ratio is the independent variable. Meanwhile, we have 5 independent variables, which are the firm age, firm size, growth, leverage, and also profitability. At the end, profitability is the only independent variable that is significant with the independent variable. Moving on to the background of the study. Firstly, performance of a dividend payout ratio under GLC, where government-owned enterprises would result in increased dividend payout and lowering agency costs. They believe that companies with a lot of government ownership have more agency issues. In addition, government-owned enterprises will experience minimal dividend payment because it is difficult to foresee any specific sign in this entity, and it is dependent on the government's strategic objective. Secondly, issues of dividend policies of PCF in GLC, which in Malaysia, government-linked trust fund organization such as Pemodalan Nasional Berhad, Employee Provident Fund (EPF), and Tabung Haji provide preferential investment allocation to GLC. However, companies with the political ties are more likely to pay lower dividends. This is because instead of paying big dividends, PCF keep more of their revenue. Some present the other view where PCF pay higher dividend because firms' dividend policy contain information about their future performance. Next is problem statement. The New Straits Times stated that the average income received by the GLC Chief Executive Officer (CEO) is 229 times more than the median annual salary earned by Malaysian people. Based on the latest available data from annual report and Bloomberg, a senior executive of a GLC earned an average of 5.5 million ringgit per year, according to an analysis of FTSE Bursa Malaysia KLCI 30 businesses. They claim that the ever-increasing pay and bonuses were difficult to justify given the large skill pool in the market and the elements of public service that applies to the government-linked company. However, according to the rent-seeking theory, businesses form political ties with the ruling government for their own or personal advantages. Malaysian dividend payout for various sort of politically connected firm. The emerging market businesses are more likely than developed market businesses to engage in rent-seeking. In the framework of a rising market, Malaysia, there is an extra insight into the payout policies of PCF. Malaysia is an appealing market to research since businesses have strong ties to the politicians and the government, and the company has the most PCF bailout instances of any rising economy.
Next, we're moving on to the objective and hypothesis. The objective for this study is to determine the significant relationship between the leverage, firm size, firm age, growth, and also profitability with dividend payout ratio of PCF in Malaysian GLCs. The alternative hypothesis stated that there is a significant relationship between the leverage, firm size, firm age, growth, and profitability with dividend payout ratio of PCF in Malaysian GLCs, while the null hypothesis stated that there is no significant relationship between the leverage, firm size, firm age, growth, and profitability with dividend payout ratio of PCF in Malaysian GLCs. Next is literature review. The theory that are used in this study are political theory and also dividend policy theory. Now, we're moving on to the empirical findings. The first one is leverage. According to Wahjudi 2020, Sharma and Bakshi 2019, Ranaji 2018, Yusof and Ismail 2016, and Turki Al-Sabah 2015, they have stated that there is a negative relationship between the leverage and dividend payout ratio. The next variable is firm size. According to Titman and Wessels 1988, they have stated that there is a negative relationship between the firm size and dividend payout ratio. The third variable is firm age. According to Pradana Jati Kusuma, Sri Hartoyo, and Hendro Sasongko 2018, there is a positive relationship between firm age and dividend payout ratio. The next variable is growth. According to Nurul Shahnat Mahsan, Rozaimah Zainuddin, and Niku Karimi Shahri 2016, they have stated that there is a negative relationship between sales growth and dividend payout ratio, and the last variable is profitability. According to Pradana Jati Kusuma, Sri Hartoyo, and Hendro Sasongko 2018, and also Ahmad and Mukadas 2016, they have stated that there is a positive relationship between profitability and dividend payout ratio. We're moving on to the theoretical framework. As you can see here, there is one dependent variable that is used in this study, which is dividend payout ratio. The dividend payout ratio referring to the dividend per share over earning per share. And as you can see, there are 5 independent variables that are used in this study, which are leverage, firm size, firm age, growth, and profitability. The leverage is referring to the long-term debt to total assets. The firm size is referring to the total assets. The firm age is referring to the number of years post-establishment. The growth is referring to the 1-year sales growth. And the profitability is referring to the earning before interest and taxes over the total assets.
Moving on to the concept map of methodology. In this research, we are using a quantitative method as we examine the dividend payout policies of politically connected firms from GLCs in Malaysia in 5 years from 2016 to 2020. We also use secondary data as most of the data is extracted from Econ and Bursa Malaysia. Besides, we also use cleaning data. Under cleaning data, we use Jaqua-Bera test to check for the normality, and the outlier will be the scatter plot. Next, descriptive analysis are brief descriptive coefficient that summarize a given dataset, which can be either a representation of the entire population or a sample of it. Our descriptive analysis consists of mean, median, maximum and minimum, standard deviations, squeeness, and kurtosis. Furthermore, Pearson correlation is used to describe the relationship between two quantitative variables. The correlation coefficient is a metric that measures the degree to which two variables' movement are linked. As for regression analysis, the purpose of it is to determine the relationship between the dependent and independent variables. It is also important to figure out how the changes in the independent variables affect the dependent variables. Here also shows the model that we use.
For the descriptive analysis, we can see from here the mean, median, maximum, minimum profitability, observations, and other. So the table above consists of 34 observations from 29 companies of non-financial GLC listed in Bursa Malaysia from the year 2016 to 2020. From the profitability, we can see that there are a few independent variables that is not normal, which is below than 10%. Hence, as for the firm size, we were using log formula. Meanwhile, growth and profitability, we are using square root formula as an adjustment to achieve the data normality. Next, the correlations and regressions analysis will be show the data after an adjustment and has achieved the data normality.
So now, I will explain the correlation analysis for this study. As you can see, the table shows the summary result of correlation analysis between all variables. The objective of correlation analysis is to test the strength of the relationship among the variables. After transformation, the data are being correlated. As we can see from the table above, most of them are negatively correlated but not significant except for the profitability. The correlation between dividend payout ratio, the dependent variables, and most of the independent variables, which are from age, firm size, growth, and leverage, are not significant as their p-value is more than 10%. As for profitability, the p-value is equal to 0, which indicates that the correlation is significant. There is a positive correlation between profitability and dividend payout ratio, where it's showing that when the profitability is increases by 1 ringgit, it seems that the dividend payout ratio also increases by 70 cents. To further check the relationship, we proceed with regression analysis.
Next, I will explain the regression analysis result. As we can see from the table, the probability of F statistic is 0.0718%. The model is weak since the p-value of the F statistic is less than 10%. Based on the result presented, it shows that the R squared is 51.53%. This shows that the independent variables for this model can explain 51.53% of dividend payout ratio, for which 48.47% is explained by other variables which are not included in the model. Based on regression analysis, the p-value for firm age, firm size, growth, and leverage is more than 10%. It shows that there is no significant relationship between them and dividend payout ratio. As for profitability, the p-value is 0.01%. As the result is less than 10%, it shows that there is a positive significant relationship between profitability and DPR. The result obtained is found to be consistent with previous literature review, which they expect a positive relationship between profitability and dividend payout ratio. Most of the independent variables have insignificant relationship, most probably because our data is limited, which is only 34 observations. Let's move to the summary of findings. The table reveals that the firm age has a positive but not significant relationship with DPR, hence the null hypothesis is failed to reject and it has no effect on dividend payout ratio. Meanwhile, for firm size, growth, and leverage have a negative and not significant relationship with DPR, therefore they failed to reject the null hypothesis and had no effect on dividend payout ratio. As for profitability, it shows a positive and significant relationship with DPR, indicating that the null hypothesis is rejected and they also affect the dividend payout ratio. So the last part is conclusion. As for limitation, this study is only based on government-linked companies listed on Bursa Malaysia, which implies that the finding may only be relevant to non-financial firms. Besides, there are many missing data because there is no information provided for some companies. So, future researchers are suggested to include more independent variables and the company should not only base on Bursa Malaysia. It also suggested for future researchers to have more observation and collect more data on the GLCs companies so that there is no missing data. In a conclusion, based on the findings, only profitability rejects the null hypothesis where it has a positive and significant relationship on dividend payout ratio.
That's all from us. Thank you.